In the Unresolved Problems segment tonight, a Brooklyn lawyer verbally attacks Ivanka Trump on a JetBlue flight. But first, what's wrong with the Democratic Party? According to some political observers, the key issue behind the Democrats' recent election defeat, secularism.
Democrats don't know how to talk to a lot of these people that go to church, people of value. I mean, the Democratic Party has become a secular party. I mean, it has become a party that almost...
Outside African Americans.
Yes.
It's like the one...
exactly.
Where they're not secular.
But it almost, other than a couple prayers at the convention every 4 years, that's it. And the thing is, a lot of Americans and a lot of these voters out in sort of real America, where I grew up, and, okay, sort of where you grew up, right. These are people with a different value structure, and they don't recognize where the Democratic Party has become.
Joining us now from Dallas to analyze, former Trump campaign national spokesperson Katrina Pearson. And here in New York, Jeannie Zaino, political science professor at Iona College. Let me read the two of you some numbers from a recent poll. It said that people who attend church once a week, voted for Trump 55%. People who never attend religious services, they voted for Clinton 62%. Katrina Pearson, does this indicate that really, if people understood better, in the Democratic Party, better understood people who are faith-filled, they would have done better in the election?
Well, maybe, but then maybe not, Juan. I mean, yes, the party has definitely become more secular, but that's not why Hillary Clinton lost by itself. I mean, this is not new for the Democrat Party. It had no effect in 2008 or 2012. The reason why they're struggling now is because hope was a myth. Healthcare premiums skyrocketed. You did not get to keep your doctor no matter how much you liked him. With perpetual war, global terrorism, executive amnesty, this was identity politics and class warfare at its worst. So was it part of the problem? Maybe, but not entirely.
Jeannie Zaino, what do you say?
You know, I say, look, this was not a blowout election by any stretch of the imagination. She won the popular vote by 2.9 million votes. The problem was her votes in the Electoral College were unevenly filtered. She won big cities. She won on the coast. Well, the problem is not necessarily secularism, but it's speaking to people in the middle of the country and rural, less populated areas. I mean, let's think about this. We knew Donald Trump's only path to victory was through the Midwest, through the Rust Belt, which he did beautifully, and we've got to give him credit for. She visited Wisconsin not once. She visited Michigan only towards the end. If she had a real message to those voters in the Midwest and the Rust Belt,
so you're saying that you had a bad candidate.
A bad candidate, but also a message issue. So a messenger and a message issue.
Let's go back to the church issue, though, because it sounds to me like you're saying that people in the middle of the country, and especially whites and older whites in the middle of the country, more likely church-going, are the people who did not vote for Clinton.
Yes, but they did not vote for her on an economic message, and that's where I think the Democratic Party has to focus, because it is unfair and it's not true to say that people of faith are only in one party. Yes, that tends to be the fact, but those numbers haven't changed since the 1960s. The issue here with this loss is not secularism. It's got to do with the message and the messenger in 2016.
Katrina Pearson, sounds like you're agreeing with Jeannie.
Well, it wasn't just the lack of message for the economy. She didn't have a message at all. In fact, Hillary Clinton was the poster child for everything wrong with American politics, from corruption to statism to corporatism to socialism, all within the elitist core. That is the main problem here. There were people in the Rust Belt that did like a message from Donald Trump, but they also didn't like the message that the Democrat Party was putting out there. You know, they took their base for granted. You had the mainstream media that was helping her against the candidate that the base was supporting. The difference here is that Donald Trump was a candidate that had a message, a pro-America message for all Americans.
Hey, Katrina, did you just say that the base was supporting, and I don't think you meant Donald Trump, I think you meant Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders, absolutely, and the media was helping Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
You can't take your base for granted and then expect them to turn out for you in the general election.